start with Eduardo Tait, catching prospect for the Philadelphia Phillies. He is a power over hit guy who might have to move off of catcher. I mean, we hear that all the time, but ultimately these guys do tend to stay behind there. Like, Gary Sanchez was talked about as being moved off catcher at one point in his prospect arc. But Tait, it's crazy raw power. He's built like a fire hydrant. This dude is just solid back there. He's got a good arm. So I think that even if he does have to move off catcher, probably move to like left field, right field, and be fine. This is one of the more exciting young catching prospects in the low minors.
I agree, man. And it is probably a dose of homerism, but you brought up Always Sunny, so I'll say this. When it comes to Eduardo Tate, I do sometimes wish that we could untether his power, as I think it knows no bounds. Eduardo Tate is not a starter prospect, he is a finisher prospect. And those are my Always Sunny references for you at home. Anyhow, I do think that he is an interesting player. Obviously, being that I'm the pitcher and catcher guy, I do tend to kind of amp him up in my own mind, but consider, Reese, a 17-year-old, not even 18 years old yet, and this young man played exceptionally through 2 levels last year, if I'm not mistaken, finishing off at Class A. I think that right now we're looking at potentially an everyday catcher, and I love the shout kind of to Gary Sanchez, because that's a great point that everyone likes to say, oh, he may move off. He might move off catcher. He might, sure, but I mean, Gary Sanchez is going to play catcher in 2025 for a major league team. So I think that it might be premature to say that Tate can't do that. I think that we're looking at a lot of time to develop. There's plenty to work on, sure, but there's plenty already to hang the hat on. And the first and foremost of this is the very exceptional power for the teenager, Reese. And I'm very excited about Tate specifically. Ranked him number 93 of all 500 prospects on my list in November. Big fan of his.
I think that ultimately, do you think that if he moves off catcher, that's a bump in his value? I think because then he's not dealing with all the bumps and bruises that come with catching, right? Like, because obviously catchers get hurt. I mean, we saw with Adley Rushman this year, like all of a sudden his offensive production just took a tailspin. So at that position, I think that if a guy moves off of it and he still has this sort of power, I think that there's a bump in his value. Maybe not in real life, he takes a drastic dip down, but in a fantasy aspect, I think that he has a chance to like take a little step forward in that.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, honestly. Again, as much as I love catchers, I think that not having the bumps and dings and bruises and nicks, and it just helps to keep him healthier. It's less to worry about. And again, at that point, the defense, which for Tate is not incredible, it's fine right now. Again, considering he's just a young teenager, I think it's fine defense. Could certainly improve, but it's one less thing for him to worry about. Realistically, if we're going to choose long term, at least from the fantasy perspective, do I want him to be a more consistent hitter, or do I want him to be able to just pick it from behind the dish? I would much prefer for him to be a consistent hitter. As a Phillies fan, I'd I'd be really accepting to either, though.